Good evening, everyone, and a special welcome and thank you for joining us for this evening's New Members Orientation presentation. I'm Stan Schulman, and I will be leading the meeting this evening. I would like to thank all those presenting tonight for making themselves available. The New Members Orientation is held in September and again in January each year, and it provides an important opportunity for us to meet, greet, and get to know each other personally. A big thanks to Mike Philhauer, our audio-visual technologist, for providing Zoom communication and recording. If you lose contact with us tonight, just try logging in again. This club has so many activities that it is impossible to get into any details about any of the activities, so we have asked the presenters to simply provide an overview of their topics. The details will come with time, exploring the website and talking to members, attending meetings, or asking your buddy. Our first presenter this evening is Matt Fripp. Matt is, excuse me, Matt joined the club in 2011 and he's standing in for David Hillock, who is the membership chair. This position involves keeping records of incoming and outgoing memberships, payments, membership cards, and maintaining a database of membership and their competitive level and much more. In addition, I would like to remind everyone to visit the Powell Gallery upstairs this evening, where Matt is exhibiting his impressive journey through the night sky. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Stan, and welcome everyone again. I'm just, I think he has mentioned it, I'm just standing in for David Hillock. David Hillock is the actual membership chair and also the website chair. You know, maybe webmaster is a more common name for you. So, but we're not covering the website tonight. That's a topic on its own that it will take quite a while. So I think, if I'm right, David will host a presentation about the website, isn't it?
Well, it's
later this month.
It's about the membership card.
Yes. Besides the functions that Stan already mentioned, membership chair is responsible to bring the membership cards, those things here. And as we encourage you to come to the club in person as much as you can, and we also encourage you that please wear this card. It has several advantages. First of all, it tells that you're in good standing with the club, that you have paid your fees and all that stuff. And it's also, of course, helping with social interaction. You meet somebody, you meet a lot of people, you don't know their names and you can see them right away. Besides that, the cards also have some color that further identify the member that's wearing it. Blue card, you as new members, you should all have blue cards that says you're a new member. In the first season, your membership card is blue. Orange cards are for life members. That means they have been with the club for 30 years or more. So that's not an option for you for the time being, I guess. And for honoring members who really have gone out and beyond to volunteer for the club. Red cards are for board members and past presidents. If you see somebody wearing a red card, she or he is a member of the board, and whatever the board is doing, pretty much planning ahead for the club and taking care of all the issues that come up. So if you have suggestions, feel free to mention it to a member of the board. And finally, turquoise cards are showing that this member is a volunteer. Now, what exactly he or she is volunteering can be sometimes a story on its own, and real estate on this card is obviously limited. So we just try to squeeze it into a few meaningful words. But again, if you see a member with a turquoise card, it has brief explanation what these members are volunteering for. And again, feel free to contact them or ask them about that if that topic has some interest to you, like maybe local outings, you want to know more, than okay, and you happen to meet this person that chairs local outings. Go ahead, ask your questions. And of course, we also encourage every one of you to volunteer as well. Okay, that's it, I guess. Any questions? Okay, oh, yeah.
There a color for regular members after?
Yeah, no, as soon as you're a member, you get a card.
Yeah, but blue cards are for new members.
Yeah, new members only in the first season, which starts in September.
Next year,
Next year, you don't have blue anymore. No, then you're a veteran. Well, yeah, no color means just a normal member without any color. All right, anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matt. Andrew Wodzinski is a member of the Powell Gallery team. Standing in for Iskui Kirikosyan, the curator of the gallery who is traveling. Andrew joined the club in 2020 and is a board director and the lecture series co-chair with Frank Ibbert. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you, Stan. So again, welcome everyone. And today I stand here representing, I guess, Powell Gallery team, as opposed to last Monday. So we are very fortunate in this club that we actually own the building, and I guess owing to that, we can have our own gallery. And as was mentioned already, currently Matt Pratt is exhibiting his excellent work on sky photography or astrophotography. But we have many more exhibitions throughout the season. Usually on a monthly basis, we change them, and we show the work of some very talented photographers that we have here in the club. So we have solo exhibitions, but we also have occasionally group exhibitions when we show either perhaps winning images from our competitions, or once a year, at least in the last 2 years, we had a group exhibition as part of the Contact Festival by Scotiabank, I think. So this is a great recognition of the work that we do here and that the SCUI does, curating this gallery. So I think we'll have a tour of the club in a couple of minutes or half an hour.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to visit also me on the first floor up there in the gallery, and we can talk more about either the current exhibit or upcoming exhibits. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Pat Gerarda joined the club in March of this year and has already earned the title of co-chair and coordinator of local outings. That is exceptional participation. These outings are wonderful opportunities to experience different photography ventures that you may never have done before. It is also an opportunity to build friendships and learn from other photographers. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you, Stanley. Welcome, fellow club members. Today, I'm going to talk briefly about local outings, and I've broken it into 3 areas. The first one, it will be what is a local outing with this club. A local outing with its members organize different outings throughout Toronto and the Greater Toronto area. It can be a day event, or it can be a couple of hours. It can occur on a weekday or a weekend. The local outings primarily are accessible by the public transit, which is fabulous as far as I'm concerned, and allows a lot of members to participate. And for the most part, and what's most important, it's an opportunity for club members to meet other members and share ideas. Okay. The next point, which I feel is a very important point, is that the members lead local outings. It's an opportunity for any member to lead a local outing despite their level of photographic experience. So almost any outing. And what's important here is that many of our members, as I said, live through all through Toronto and the Greater Toronto area, and they can provide us with some ideas and know the areas and may have ideas for future outings. So today I'm reaching out to club members to see if they would consider volunteering and hosting a outing. You know the areas, you may know the hotspots, and many of us may not. So any ideas that you can put forward, including leading an outing, we'd love to hear from you. And you can contact me. You can speak to me after this presentation, or you can send through our website to local outings at the Toronto Cam Club. Your interest. You had your hand up, sir?
Yes, last year we went to Bell. Mike worked with, what happened last. And these names were submitted to the club.
Okay, if you'd like, I can speak to you after. Okay, sure. We can do that. And also I can meet with you after, but anytime anybody comes and indicates an interest, we will take it seriously, and we'll be really happy to hear from fellow members, because we need your ideas, and volunteers will make things a lot easier for us to conduct these local outings, and have somebody who has photographic experience to suggest something that worked for them. It could work for us.
Just a reminder for the speakers tonight, can you repeat the questions for people on Zoom if possible?
Yes, I will. Thank you. And going back to that question then, this gentleman said that it's important to take down the names of these individuals who indicate an interest and to follow up. Is that correct, sir?
Take down.
Okay, I will speak to you after the presentation. Thank you. One thing that's important to note is that for those who do volunteer, the co-chair will work with you to organize the event and provide ongoing assistance until we get to that finish line. So you're not alone. We're going to help you. Okay, and we work with the webmaster, we work with other people here. So you're not alone. Now, the last point is one thing with local outings, it's really important as club members that we rely and look at the website. All the latest updated information is on the website, including any updates or changes. This is very important for an outing where it could be impacted because there's rain or there's clouds. For example, if we're doing in alignment with the moon, if there's rain, things may change at the last minute. So it's important the night before and the morning of to check the website because we will keep it up to date. We don't want you going anywhere if we've canceled it. So we work hard at keeping members informed. I'm going to tell you just briefly now, we've got 2 outings happening. One of them is the Salmon Run and Autumn Colors. That is October 2nd, and it's in the West End, and it's at the Old Mill Station. You get off there, and it's a 5-minute walk where you meet us at the Humber River. And it's really a fabulous outing. I've been doing this for decades in terms of visiting these jumping salmon. And it's a great opportunity to be with others and try and catch those fish who are jumping over. It's phenomenal. It's really phenomenal. We have a second outing coming up. We haven't posted it yet, but I'll tell you what it is. This is the moon alignment with the CN Tower observation deck. And we have scheduled it for October 17th in the evening. And more details will be provided, and I hope to have that out tomorrow. I've got it all written up and it's ready to go, and we hope to see you there as well. Now, if you have any questions, I can try and answer some of your questions. Yes, sir.
Are there any restrictions on the number?
The question was, are there any restrictions on how many can go? There may be cases where there is. For example, I know that they had a outing that was, I think it was here, and we limited it to 20 people. Going to the Salmon Run, I think we're pretty good. There's not going to be a limit. There's 2 sides to the river. I'd like to take you to the other side of the river, but I'm going to see if we can get reasonable spots where I normally do it. The other side of the river has a place where you can bring your tripods and sit them right on the river. And it's a greater shot. Yes, sir? Okay, the question is, what time will you meet us for this outing, the salmon outing? It's 8 o'clock, and all this information is found on our website. And you go under the members section and you click local outings and you find that outing, click on it, and all the details are there. Okay,
Pat,
yes.
for the Salmon Run, is there a lot of walking involved, and can someone with a cane do it?
Yes, the cane, so what happens, I know the walk, the Humber River, it's where the old mill is.
Yeah.
And it's a little hilly on the sidewalk. And then you get to a set of stairs. And the stairs, there's about 10 to 15 steps. So I don't know if that poses a problem for you. Will you be coming alone?
Yeah, I'm thinking of it.
Okay, so maybe.
I'm
what-
good.
Sorry? Go
I'm
ahead.
good with all that.
You're good with all that?
Yeah.
If you'd like, I will communicate with you after the meeting, and we can work out some more details and see how we can accommodate you. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Next question?
Yes, they're slowing the really where you go down there. This and or you maybe take something to the stairs.
No, we've provided, also the question is there signs for the club members so they can find where we are? Okay, first of all, we do have the coordinates on the website. However, if you follow those coordinates, you're going to see me. I'll have a bright color on. And I'm right there, like before you even walk down the stairs, I'll be there and I'll have my tripod and I'll look like I'm going to do photography. Okay. I hope that helps you. I think in fact, it's quite easy to find me and the others. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, well, I can tell you, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to have this role. And I'm going to be working with all of you. And I really look forward to hearing some of your ideas. Even if you don't think it's a great idea, just run it past us. Okay, we'll take it and we certainly will take leaders. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. Thank you. Now, I was just wondering, I don't see Lily here. Is Lily on Zoom, Mike?
Yes, I'm on Zoom.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Hello, I hear you loud and clear. Lily
Hello.
joined the club in 2006 and is a board director and the Toronto International Salon of Photography chair for the past 13 years. The salon is in its 131st consecutive year, and it is an enormous undertaking. Shortly after completing one salon, Lily already starts preparing for the next year. Welcome, Lily.
Thank you. I'm gonna be short. Just to explain what is the salon. Salon is international competition that has been run by this club for 131 years. It's a lot of details about that. And I don't want to take much of your time, but I will be talking in details about Salon on September 26th. So in 2 weeks' time from today. And then you will find out more details, more interesting stuff, more you will see more images that are sent to us for judging and medals and awards and all kinds of stuff. It's a huge event actually for our club. So thank you very much for your attention. If you want to see a little bit more about Salon before 26th of September, you can go to our website, and on the top, on the bar, you will see Salon. Click on that Salon and go there, and you will find a whole bunch of stuff there. But if you don't feel comfortable, wait for me for September 26th. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye.
Thank you, Lily.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Our next presenter is Ariel Haynes, who is the Darkroom co-chair along with Dave Smith. Dave tells me that Ariel first visited the club to donate an Omega enlarger and was so impressed with the darkroom, he decided to join the club in January this year. So during this year, he has worked hard to make the darkroom even better, including giving darkroom tours during the Open Doors event, organizing and executing the very successful camera sale this past summer, and getting the downtown stairs gallery up and running. Ariel studied photography at York University and continues to use black and white film to create his popular prints. Longtime club member Frank Ibbert, who Dave tells me is a constant source of inspiration, information, and support, has, along with Dave and Ariel, created one of the city's best teaching darkrooms with the invaluable help of darkroom Mr. Fixit, Marco Acacio. Welcome, Ariel.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I was back there eating cookies. You may not have any more by the time you finish this. Sorry. Okay, first of all, welcome all the new members. And I'm here representing a very small but passionate darkroom community here at the Camera Club. Analog photography is making a huge comeback. I know many of you may have done it in the past, in high school, college, and may have walked away from it when digital photography became the norm. I myself took about 20 years off of analog photography once digital came into play. But with the recent resurgence in black and white photography, it's become quite a really amazing creative process that a lot of people are starting to either discover or rediscover. All right. So as Stan was saying, we have excellent darkroom facilities. I can tell you that in Toronto, there's only 2 darkrooms that are this caliber, one of which is at Hart House in University of Toronto, and which is only available to U of T alumni. This one is available to all of our members to use. And if you have done photography in the past and may have forgotten, maybe it's been a while, or if you haven't done it before, a lot of people have come into photography strictly through the digital realm, and now you're curious about analog photography. Well, fortunately, Dave and myself and several other very passionate volunteers will be more than happy to help you. We run workshops on weekends in the fall and in the winter. And in these workshops, you can learn how to, or relearn how to develop a roll of film and process it and print some prints from that film in the space of a day. And once you've learned how to do that, then you can book darkroom time with our chairman, our darkroom chair, Dave Smith. Bearing in mind, when you register for these workshops, which can be done through the website, you must make sure you pay first to make it official. Dave wanted to stress that because a lot of people would register and say, yeah, he'll be there, and then sort of back out. Okay. In any case, it's an amazing experience to develop your own film. There's something magical about it. If you've ever done darkroom work before, you'll know that feeling of when you first insert that paper into the chemistry and just watch that image sort of like come up from blank white paper to a beautiful image. Now, some of you may be thinking, I haven't gotten any analog equipment anymore. I got rid of it years ago when I switched to digital. Well, we can make some arrangements to get you perhaps some loaner equipment, because we have a lot of donated equipment that has come our way over the years. And Dave and I try to make sure that we fix it up and make sure it's workable. And it's something that easily a beginner could enjoy using. And then if you really like it, then you can go out and get your own camera. Now, as Stan was also mentioning, we have a small gallery space downstairs, which we've sort of like cleared up a lot of the space down there. And at the moment, we have a really excellent exhibition by our darkroom Mr. Fixit, Marco Acacia. He's an excellent photographer. He recently came to photography not too long ago. I don't think he's a very young man, but he's an amazing photographer. So please, I welcome you after our talk to come down and tour the nether regions. We're sort of in the basement, right? So we're sort of forgotten down there. You go downstairs and it's like, what's down here? You know, it's always like a mystery. That's where our darkroom is. I'll be more than happy to show you the darkroom, give you a tour of it, and then you can wander down the hall into our gallery space, which we really managed to get cleaned up and see Marco's amazing work. I think that's all I've got to talk about. Basically just welcome, and I encourage you all to consider doing analog photography as part of your image creating tools. It's a lot of fun, and I think you'll find it really, really worthwhile. Thank you very much.
Ariel?
Yes, question.
Before you go, question on Zoom.
Yep.
Do you have to be a member to take the darkroom workshops or use the darkroom?
Okay, that's a great question. You don't have to be a member to take the workshop, because we've actually opened it up to non-members in order to maybe encourage them to get into analog photography and join the club. Again, you have to be a member of the club in order to use the darkroom on a regular basis on your own. But to just take the workshop along with myself or Dave or Bill or whoever's instructing the workshop that particular Saturday, you don't have to be a member. While I'm here, thank you very much for bringing that up, Mike. The workshops themselves are a one-day affair. It goes from 10:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. We'll process film in the morning, break for lunch and hang out and talk. And then in the afternoon, we'll print some prints. And the cost of that particular endeavor is $34. I don't believe it's increased yet, so it's still $34, and that's it. All you have to bring is an exposed roll of film, and the rest, including the chemistry and the paper for that particular day, is covered by your workshop fee. Now, moving forward, if you are a member of the club and are using the darkroom, then you are responsible for your consumables, such as chemistry, and obviously your own film. So people will bring their own paper, their own chemistry here, and you know, you can mix it up in the darkroom and then make your prints. Any other questions?
And part two,
Mm-hmm.
can a member bring a guest?
Yes, a member can bring a guest. That has been done in the past. Again, as long as the guest pays for the workshop, that's fine. But as for using the darkroom on a regular basis with the guest, I've never been asked that question before, and that's something that I probably would have to get Dave to field, but he's not here. However, if you still have that
I
question.
am here, Ariel.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
Did
sorry.
you hear the question, Dave?
I just watched Jeopardy, so I got here as soon as I could. It's a good question. If the person comes as a guest comes once in a while. But if somebody's coming regularly as a guest, then they should become a member and they should pay the normal fees. So we're a little bit relaxed about a guest once in a while. But if someone is coming regularly to the darkroom with a member, then they also must become a member. Is that a clear enough answer for you?
Yes, it's perfect. It wasn't a two-part question. It was, can a member do you have to be a member to take the workshop? And you clearly answered that as no. So that's perfect.
Okay, very good.
All right, any other questions? Because Dave's here now, so if I can't answer it, then Dave can. Okay, we only do black and white. And I'll tell you why, because color chemistry is a bit more complicated. It's very temperature sensitive. And also it's a little bit more impactful on the environment than black and white chemistry. So we try to, we keep everything black and white. Now the color, the heads that we use on the enlargers are actually colored. One of them is a color head. The other ones can use variable contrast filters. Ideally, you could print color in them, but we don't have the color chemistry or the proper equipment to do color processing. Any other questions? Oh, okay. They're on the weekend. Sorry, what's the question again? Oh, when are the workshops held and how often are they held? Okay, typically they will be on a weekend, usually on a Sunday, but sometimes we have held it on a Saturday. That's up to whoever's available. If Dave or myself or Bill are available, then that's when it'll be. They'll be announced ahead of time. And like I said, the timing is in 10:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. It's 6 hours. Not even, because we get about an hour for lunch while we wait for the film to dry. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We can accommodate up to 2 people at a time in a workshop. Although we do have 4 enlargers set up in the dark room. 4 people processing at the same time tends to get a bit elbowy. So we try to limit it to 2, especially since there's usually an instructor or 2 in the space at the same time. Did that answer your question? Any other questions? Okay, well, if there's no other questions, then I'll return the podium to Stanley.
Thank you very much, Ariel.
Oh, no problem.
Gord McElroy joined the club in 2004. He is the administrator of studio lighting, and he and Jim Orgel do the studio lighting workshops. Gord also does club reservations along with Barbara Killam. Welcome, Gord.
So if you have any interest in shooting portraits in a studio session, then I need your attention up here. Everybody else can get out their cell phones and check their emails and for another 5 minutes. The club has a complete set of studio lighting. We have an amazing studio, which is right here. We push some chairs back. We set up a backdrop here. We have all the space. We have 20-foot ceilings. So we have all the stuff that we need. We run we have 3 different opportunities for you to learn to do studio lighting and portrait work. The first one is a series of workshops. There are 3 separate workshops for over a 3-week period. There are 3 hours, and in that time, the first session, we learn to set up lighting, the stands, what do the lights do, and look at some of the lighting setups and how you use that in portrait work. The second week, again, we set up all the equipment, so you have an experience with that again, and then we look at how you get the best out of your model. We look at some of the ways to get your models to do what you want them to do and get the shots. On the third week, people bring in their family and friends, and we use them as models, and we get to practice. So over 3 weeks, you get a lot of chances to set up the equipment, learn how to use a studio, and then start shooting people. The second opportunity that you have is run by Ira Reese, who sets up sessions where they actually hire a model. And he does anywhere from 6 to 8 of these a year. If you're wanting to do work with a professional model, then you sign up with him, and he takes the list, has a list of the people and takes the first 4. They have a session. Now, there's a cost to that because everybody chips in and pays for the modeling fees and some food and stuff. The third opportunity is that this studio space and equipment can be used by the members. There's a fee of $40 for a 3-hour session, but you get to do your own thing. You come in, you set up the equipment, you bring your models in, you shoot your models, and you take your pictures home with you. So if you're like studio lighting and you have never had a chance, or you've done a little bit and you want to refresh your course on it, then sign up for the workshops. The workshops are going to be in October. I believe they're on the calendar already, and the dates will be in the newsletter that's coming out this weekend. Any questions? Yes.
What type of flash? Are they Speedtron or ground power?
They're all strobe flashes. Yes. Some of them have been around for a while, but even the old ones are working well as long as you get the right soft boxes and things on them. Any other questions? All right. Hope to see some of you in the workshops.
Thank you, Gord. let's, Gord, if we can do the questions so that the Zoom can hear as well, so we can repeat what you're saying. Do you want to come up at all, Pat, and talk? That's the way.
Sure, speak right into the microphone. There we
Okay,
go.
so my questions, and you may have covered it. So can a beginner go?
These are specifically for beginners, for people who have never or had very minimal involvement in studio lighting.
And there's 3 sessions.
There's 3 sessions of 3 hours each.
And is there a limit as how many people can attend?
Yes, there'll be a maximum of 5 people per session.
Okay,
So if there's more, that if we got a whole whack of people, I would add another one in. The sessions are going to be on Wednesday mornings and Saturday mornings. So if I had 10 people want to sign up for Wednesday, we do a second one in the afternoon. But 5 is the largest that I want in a group because it's all individual and hands-on.
thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions? Yes. The workshops are, no, that's part of the cost comes from your fee when you join the club. You have to be a club member to partake in them. But Irish sessions are, there is a cost to those. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gord. Now, our next speaker called me this afternoon and told me that he had a problem in attending tonight. He had something urgent to attend to. So I said, no problem. I will then speak on your behalf. That is Tom Schell. Tom joined the club in 2009 and is the Nature Images co-chair with Christopher Sue. He has run the workshops for 6 years and is a very skilled and knowledgeable photographer. The workshops are designed for new photographers, members with a new camera, or looking to purchase one, and members who have not done much for a while, but are getting back into it. The slide up here covers everything that Tom would have addressed, so I'll leave this up for a while and you can see what he covers in the actual workshop, and it's quite a lot. So if there are any questions that you want to ask, I'll see if I can answer it for you. Yes, please. Sure.
Hi, my name is Dermot O'Carroll. I'm chair of the Thursday night workshops. I wanted to comment on this because I've had a lot of emails from you members about basic photography workshops. And we don't really do overall basic photography workshops in the Thursday night workshops, but this is a really great program for somebody who wants to learn the basics of photography, not just about how to handle their camera, but the principles of photography, like aperture, shutter speed, ISO, etc., and some of the rules of composition, etc. So if you want a beginner's introduction to photography, this is the workshop to take. Yes, Tor.
There were the 3 workshops listed in the weekend outing. Are those all part of a single workshop?
Yes.
Or are they each of them?
No, it's a multiple session workshop because as Stanley said, he covers a lot of material in this workshop. And if you want to get a good introduction to photography, this is the workshop. This is a great resource. And as Stanley said, it's free. It's one of the better aspects of a membership in the Camera Club. It's a multiple session plus a weekend outing where you get to practice the skills that you learn in the workshop with the chair of the workshop. So it's a really good program.
Thank you very much.
And just to let you know, this workshop is at the club, not on Zoom.
He's had in the past, he's had Zoom training as well, but I think Thomas felt that the way to really learn what you're doing is to come together with your cameras and you can talk face to face with it. It's very difficult to try and do that on Zoom. He has. I have spent last year, I decided to go through all the training with Tom as a support for him as well, because at the end of the sessions, we would do a walk to one of the malls, the fish market, etc. And they would be able to work with the individuals and correct anything that they're doing. So, you know, hands-on is the way to go with this type of session. And he does a terrific job. He's got a good personality for this kind of work. And I would certainly encourage anybody who has an opportunity here to join his sessions. Okay, I know this guy. Well, about the Buddy program, I joined the club in 2011. I'm a board director and also the Buddy program chair. At our club, we recommend allocating a buddy for any new member so that you will have at least one member you can contact by email or phone should you have a question or concern. There is so much to learn when first joining the club that getting a quick response to any question or concern can be quite a relief. Soon enough, you will meet other members, even on Zoom, and form friendships with them as well. No need to feel intimidated here, as all our members are approachable and will be happy to chat with you. The more you attend meetings, whether by Zoom or in the club, and the more times you enter the various activities, the more you get to know other members and the more they get to know you. That is when you really get the feel the benefit of membership. Once you join the club, you would have received an email from me explaining the Buddy program and requesting you respond to 5-question survey. This helps us focus, forgive the pun, on your needs and how we can assist you. The quickest way to get answers to your questions and queries is to contact your buddy. For those of you who have had any experience, have joined recently and needed answers quickly, if you contacted your buddy and you got a quick response, I hope you did. Thank you, Stan. You're welcome. And we have our new member committee. Nora joined the club in 2005. She's the past president and presently on the board of directors. Nora is also the new member committee chair and serves on various committees, such as nominating committee, donations and bequests committee, the website team, hospitality, and if you want a key to the club, you had better speak to Nora. Welcome, Nora.
Hello, welcome. First of all, as part of the committee for new members, one thing I'd like to mention is either myself or somebody else on the committee will be when you come in at the door there. And if you have any questions, if you want to get connected with somebody, just approach and we'll make sure that you find the person you're looking for. Another thing that I want to mention is I'm part of the nominating committee, which is really a committee that looks for volunteers for the different positions. We're doing quite well right now, but we do have a couple of positions vacant, which I will first of all put in the newsletter, and then when I don't get any response, I'll come around and personally speak to you and see if you want to volunteer for that particular position. I see some people nodding because they've had the experience. Now, after Dror finishes with his presentation about competitions, I hope most of you can stay for the tours. We'll have somebody upstairs, Andrew upstairs will be there to answer questions about the Powell Gallery and Ariel. And I think maybe there's somebody else will be downstairs with the dark room, and Gord and Ira will be here to talk to you, answer your questions about the portrait workshops. And we've got quite a spread at the back there for you. And I hope that you'll stay a little while after and talk to some of your fellow new members, plus some of us old members, if you spend a little bit of time and get to know some people better. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Well, you would have been just at this time, unless Mike can move your presentation earlier, it's going to be a little bit of a juggle, but shall we just leave it as it is? Okay. So that's it. If you can move that screen, Mike, so that you can see the name on the right corner. Thank you. Dror joined the club in 2011 and is the competitions and awards chair. In other words, he is the chair of 9 other chairs, and for this deserves a standing ovation. He is also on the planning committee and the website roadmap committee. So welcome, Dror.
Thanks very much, Stan, for that kind introduction. I'm glad to see everybody seated and not standing. And I just wanted to mention, just before I get into this very quickly, that if you had the impression that the membership committee people are always planted in that corner, it's primarily, I think Nora was talking about Monday evenings, which is when we actually meet on a regular basis, and they are always there on Monday meetings. But don't look for them on other days necessarily. You've got other things to do as well. Okay, competitions really form a big part of the activity that the club offers. And you know, there's a very rich program, as I think you have probably started to understand if you haven't known the club before and weren't aware of what's in the program. But it's pretty rich, and the idea is not necessarily that every new member must participate, or every member must participate in every single activity, but more so that everyone will find at least one and probably more activities that are to their liking, that cover their interests, and that they would like to participate in and enrich their photography experiences with. So that's really what we hope for. We have, last year we ran 19 competitions in the regular season, followed by a bunch of year-end competitions. We will do the same this year. And you can see on this table the different categories that the competitions are in. And I'm going to explain very briefly the categories as I go through a couple of slides, one slide per category basically, that describes what they are. The categories of pictorial images, nature images, and creative altered reality images, as well as assigned topics, these all have 3 competitions that take place during the regular season, somewhere between September and May. We have 2 prints competitions, or well, 2 prints monochrome competitions and 2 print color competitions. And as you can see, also 2 audiovisual presentation competitions, and then 1 each of special category. Well, year-end is not really one. That's quite a few different ones. That happens towards the end of the season. Okay, now I hope this should work. Huh?
Is the right one here?
Mike, the mouse isn't working for me.
There we go.
Oh, okay. All right. So what are these competitions? The competitions are really an excellent way to learn and grow photography skills. I joined the club as a beginner in 2011, as Stanley mentioned earlier, and I had almost no, I liked photography. I liked to take photos of trips as a kid and so on. But before joining the club, all I had was three a couple-hour workshops to learn some of the basics of photography, and that's it. And I've grown and learned so much from doing this with like-minded people, from participating in these competitions and from going to outings and all of that. It's really been an amazing journey so far, and we're only in the middle of that. There are three divisions in which we compete at the club: beginners, advanced, and masters. And the idea there is to ensure that people compete against similarly experienced or skilled photographers. In other words, if you are a beginner in photography and you're not forced to compete against people who are very experienced and who will win all the time, that's quite demotivating. So having these separate divisions allows for people to compete against others who are roughly at a similar level and to progress as they win awards. We have awards called competition points, honor points, or well, actually the awards earn a member competition points and honor points. The awards are honorable mentions, runner-up awards, and top awards, where the top award is quite obviously the top scoring image in a particular competition for that division. The runner-up is the next in line. And then there are a number of honorable mentions where our aim is to award the top three score levels, if you like. So if there are different scores, the top three score levels we want to give awards within a certain limit of a certain percentage of the total submissions. And that limit is 22%. So winning an award is meaningful in the sense that your image that won an award is going to be one of the top percentile of scoring images within that competition and within your division. If it's a regular competition. We also have competitions that are open where everybody competes against everybody else, but the vast majority are done by division. Now, any member who joins can choose the division they want to compete in. So you as a new member, by default, join in the beginners division, but you may request, based on your own level of experience and where you wish to compete in the advanced division or in the masters division. And that does happen quite often when we have experienced members who join our club and do not need to necessarily start at the beginners division. All you need to do is send me a request by email to compete in a higher division, and we'll move you to that division. The one caveat, though, is members who compete in an advanced or in masters cannot move down to a different division if they decide later that they actually want to compete in a lower division. That's not a possibility. You can move up at any time. You don't have to reach our thresholds, which we do have, and I'll describe, in order to move up, but you cannot move down. Any questions so far? Oh, yes.
You'll be both print and digital.
Yes, we have these two print monochrome competitions and two print color competitions will happen this year as they have last year. And we also have about 8 year-end competitions for prints. All the other competitions are digital. Yes. So if I go back very quickly, all the competitions other than the ones called prints are digital. Okay. All right, so now I'd like to very briefly talk about each type or each category of competition and describe it briefly. On each of these slides, I've provided one example. I tried to choose a diverse set of examples, and I've included members from the different divisions. Now, these are a few years old. I haven't replaced all the images because they still serve their purpose. So some of the members will have to forgive me from denoting a division which is lower than where they are today. For instance, Andrew Wadzinski is in Masters, and here he's shown in Advanced. Colleen Pollack is Advanced, and she's shown as Beginners. So that's just because the images are a few years old. But it is representative of the division they were in when they competed. So pictorial, the subject matter is really a fairly open subject matter. It can be people, it can be architecture, it can be street photography. It can be domesticated animals, but the only exclusion is it cannot be wildlife. You can have flowers and landscapes, which are also eligible for nature competitions, but not wildlife. That's not allowed in pictorial. Okay. Moving forward. Oh, other way? Oh,
Mike's going to control.
oh, you're doing it. Okay. Sorry, Mike. All right. And if you could move the window that's hiding the name. Okay, actually, Radu Dinu, whose name was hidden, has just rejoined the club after a couple of years away. So that's great. Nature is divided into three subcategories. We have a zoology subcategory, obviously about wildlife, wild animals. We have a general category, which is mainly landscapes, and a botany category or subcategory, which is about wild plants. And because this is a nature competition, domesticated animals are not allowed at all. So you cannot have a domesticated animal in zoology, nor can you have domesticated plants or cultivated plants in botany. So if you see a pink water lily, that's not eligible because it's cultivated or domesticated. And you can only have a very minimal amount of hand of man, as we call it, in a landscape, for example. Anything that's not natural, that's man-made, you really want to try and avoid. Now, we have some rules that have been relaxed over the years to allow for a little bit of that. If you have a little road or a tiny person in a huge landscape, then that will be allowed. But really, the intent is to show nature and not to show man-made things. An important question that we have sometimes about wildlife is what happens with wildlife that chooses to live in an urban setting, for example. That is allowed. So if it's a wild animal that of its own free will can move anywhere and decided to sit on something that is man-made, those can be submitted to nature. But I've got to warn you that depending on how big they are in the frame and how evident it is, it might not earn that many points or not as many as a wild animal that's totally in the wild. So questions? Yes, Andrew. There can be a human form. Yes, the question was, can a human form, can there be a human in a nature landscape? We don't see that very often. Technically, they can if they are tiny and they're really just showing scale. So if you have a massive landscape and clearly the subject is not the person, but you can see a silhouette of a person there that highlights the size of the cliffs or something, that's probably okay. If you're in doubt, you're invited to ask the competition chair. So the competition pages on our website indicate who the chair is for every competition. Christopher Su and Tom Sau are the nature chairs, And you can ask them, you know, is this image eligible for the nature competition? We also have something called an evaluation session, which I'll mention later, where you can not only ask about eligibility, but have your image evaluated outside of the context of a competition. So not as formal in terms of its requirements. Let's move on, Mike. Yes, oh, sorry, yes. Okay, the question was, is there a limitation on the time frame during which you might have taken that image before you submitted to a competition? No, there's no limitation on that. You can take an image that you took, you can take a photograph you took 20 years ago and submit it. Yes. Yes. So the question is, if there is something like a bird in flight, but it's a bird that's captive, it's really in a sanctuary, it's not free to roam on its own. Is it eligible? Now you're testing my memory of the exact rules, but there are those questions also about zoo animals. And if I remember correctly, we are allowing members in the beginners division to submit those kind of images of zoo animals or animals in captivity, wild animals in captivity, so long as you don't really see, like it's not a cage with an animal. If it's not completely evident that that is the case, but the picture was taken in a zoo, for a member in the beginners division, I believe we allow it. And I'd ask you, you know, if any of you really want to submit a picture like that, to read the rules document, the competition rules document, which is on the website, easily accessible on the competitions page, where you can see exactly if that's allowed or not. I believe it is for beginners. It's definitely not allowed for members in the advanced division or the master's division. Other questions? Okay, Mike? All right. A completely different category that we have is creative and altered reality. And these are images where they start off as one or more photographs, one or more pictures that somebody took, but they may be combined in many different ways, manipulated, even manipulated extremely through sorts of, you know, geometric manipulations and so on, to present something different. Some of them, such as Kathy Moore's "Everything is Dust in the Wind," are done. That's called altered reality, and it's done in a way that conveys a certain message. In this case, a message about what we're doing to our environment. Others may not convey a particular message. They can be something playful, like the cow jumps over the moon. Monica Dingle's Forest Walkers. This is, I believe this is ICM, so that's intentional camera movement, where the camera is moved by the photographer while taking the photograph. And we have another competition specifically where those types of images compete against each other. So that's creative and altered reality. You often start with an idea and then you put it together, as opposed to being somewhere, seeing something and taking that shot. So a very different kind of frame of mind or creative process, if you like. Let's move on. Okay, prints. I mentioned already that we have both monochrome prints competitions where monochrome images compete against each other, and we have color prints where those compete against each other. Prints really provide some unique value, and we feel that they are a valuable part of the art of photography and should not be replaced completely by digital images. We don't think that the digital images provide the same experience as a printed photo or a print. And so we have those specialized prints competitions for that reason. Prints are, in these competitions, they're limited to a particular size, so they can't be more than 16 by 20 or 20 by 16, depending on the orientation. They're also limited in the type of paper they can be done on or the type of media. They have to be photographic paper, but not metal, for instance, just to kind of level the playing field a little bit and not have somebody produce a, I don't know, 42 by 27 metal image, that looks massive. Yes, Ira. Great question. Thank you. I didn't plant it, but Ira is our Prince chair, and that is an important point. So I think I neglected to mention what was in the table there about the points. Members in the beginners division, upon reaching 10 competition or honor points or combination of competition and honor points, move up to the advanced division. Now, they don't move straight away. They don't have to move straight away. They can, but they move at the beginning of the next season after they've reached that point. Most competitions like pictorial, nature, creative, you assign topics, most of them, not the third one, which is a series of images, you earn 1 point. If you're in beginners, you earn 1 competition point. If you're in advanced or masters, you earn 1 honor point, usually. And in Prince, you earn 2 points in recognition of the fact that Prince take more effort to actually make and present, and in order to encourage members to submit more prints. So that's important. Prince monochrome, Prince color. If you win an award, you get 2 competition points for those. Okay, so thank you, Ira, for reminding me of that. Does anybody else have a question? Yes, so in the back there. Most of them are digital and then printed. But of course, you're very welcome to have an analog, an analog photo that's shot on a film camera and develop it. So the question was whether they have to be analog or not. No, most of them originate as a digital photo and then they get printed. And we also allow the use of commercial printers, like a Costco or a Walmart or any type of printer that prints commercially. You don't have to print it on your own printer at home. You can order the print from them and get it mounted. Yes. Okay, so this was a comment about a printer called Northern Artist, which the member has found very useful, very valuable. Okay. Yes.
Mark, I have 2 questions on Zoom.
All right, I'll do those and then I'll come back to you. Yes.
Okay, first question. Can any type of camera be used, including cell phone?
Absolutely. Any type of camera can be used, and we have some members who use cell phones exclusively. I wouldn't say that's the majority of our members. Most of them do use cameras that are not cell phones, but for sure, we have some people who use cell phones regularly and submit those images to competitions. Cell phones have software that allows images to be taken in RAW as well. So those members who have a cell phone and want to be able to maximize their flexibility in post-processing can take raw images on a cell phone. I've done it myself, and I've won some competition awards with cell phone images that I submitted. Although that's not my regular mode, but yeah, for sure.
As a follow-up,
Yes.
are all the images original, or is there imaging or editing and filters allowed?
Editing is absolutely allowed, and I think it's probably more than allowed. I think it's an important aspect of the art. Ira, did you want to intervene? Yes, okay. Editing is allowed. The extent of editing or the techniques used in editing are restricted some restricted for all competitions and some restricted based on the category of the competition. So for example, I'll give you a couple examples. Editing using what's called generative AI tools. This is not allowed in any competition. Okay, that's prohibited. So I'm not going to get into what generative AI is, but it basically inserts pixels, or it inserts content into your image that was never there, that didn't originate there. That's totally prohibited. On the other hand, using AI-based techniques for denoising an image or sharpening an image, that is allowed and is not considered an issue. But other examples that are longer standing or not as hyped topics as AI right now that I'll use, for instance, in nature, you're generally not allowed to clone out aspects of an image. So if you have a branch that goes all the way into the image and you want to use Photoshop to clone out the branch, you're not allowed to do that in a nature image. Although in our club, we've relaxed the rules a little bit to allow the 5% of the pixels on the border of the image to allow you to clone out a branch if it's in that area, but not something that's material to the rest of the image. Composite images, where you combine multiple images into one final image, that's not allowed at all in nature, of course. You can't take a photo of a sky that you took some other time and superimpose it on top of a photo of of a landscape and use that sky, edit it in Photoshop so that it looks good and use that in a competition image. That's not allowed. However, composites are allowed in pictorial. So you can't use a sky replacement where the sky isn't your own photo, but you can use your own sky photo in a pictorial image with another image. In pictorial, it's allowed. In print, it's also allowed. So those are some examples. Now, there was a question here. Yes.
When submitting, is the file name important?
Is the file naming important when submitting? The file naming on your side is not important when submitting because you submit an image to a competition through the website. And the website will have a button that says upload the image. You select the image. Once it's uploaded, the website itself, the backend, renames your image to something that can then be used to manage the competition. It is anonymous to the judges. Yes, judges are not aware who the maker of an image is. Yes. Is there a maximum DPI? The DPI is not important because it only affects printing, but there is a maximum resolution. So our images, digital images that we submit to competitions are a relatively low resolution. They're 1400, the maximum width is 1400 pixels. The maximum height is 1050 pixels. So you typically today, every camera takes much higher resolution images. So you need to resize your image to fit within those limits. Yes. Yes, the maximum resolution on the horizontal axis is 1400 pixels. The maximum resolution on the vertical axis is 1050 pixels. So if your image is square, for example, if your image is entirely square, it can be a maximum of 1050 by 1050. If your image is a landscape, it can be a maximum of 1400 by 1050. Okay? Yes.
72 dots per inch.
That's a typical display resolution for the web, and it may be used as a default, but it doesn't matter what your dots per inch are. It only matters in the sense that when you print it on a printer, it's going to restrict the size of your printout. Doesn't matter. No, you can have 300 dots per inch, 600, 72, it doesn't matter. What matters is the number of pixels. The pixels are dots, right? Are individual dots of color, and that's what matters for a competition. The maximum size of what? About what? The maximum file size? Oh, okay. We do have, so this was a question about the maximum, but it's not a maximum of dots per inch. It's a maximum size of a file size of the image that's going to be submitted. That maximum, I think it's 1.5 megabytes is what we have. So you submit the image as a JPEG image. In that format, it's compressed. And if it's 1400 by 1050, it should usually fit within 1.5 megabytes. But yes, there is also a maximum size. So if it happened to be 2.5 megabytes, you'll have to reduce what's called the quality factor of the JPEG to make it fit. Are there any other questions so far?
Yeah, there is one on Zoom, but just one point before we go on. Since you mentioned anonymous to the judges, you shouldn't have any identifying marks on the print or image itself. Like you
Yes.
shouldn't have your name on it.
You can't, and you shouldn't submit a self-portrait. You shouldn't submit an image where you are seen in the image, obviously. Yes.
But the next question is, now I know the answer, but I thought I heard that format must be raw. What about TIFF scans of developed film?
I'm not sure I understand. So the question is about a format that must be raw. Formats don't have to be raw. As far as competition images are concerned, they have to be JPEG. Not TIFF and not anything else. They have to be a JPEG. So, you know, when you edit the image and prepare it, you may well start from a raw, edit it, might turn it into a TIFF that has multiple layers or not. And eventually you have to export it as a JPEG image of the required size that doesn't exceed the size maximum. So, you know, if my images are 8,000 and something by 5,000 and something pixels, I usually use an editing tool, you know, so I'll use Lightroom, and there's an export function in Lightroom that will export them, and I can specify the maximum size limits for the width and the height, and it'll happen automatically, very easily. But even if you don't use Lightroom, there are other ways to do that with software. Okay, yes. Thank you. Is that the video about resizing? Yes, so I did make a video a few years back on how to resize your images with a web-based tool that's available on your browser. So anybody can resize it easily and correctly. Historically, we have had, members have not really understood how to resize properly. And so this can be helpful if you're not sure. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll continue. So assigned topics is the next type of the next competition category I want to talk about. And this in this competition, the topics themselves change every year. In fact, we have 3 of these competitions every season, and there are 2 topics in each competition. So there are 6 different topics during the course of the season that members will be encouraged to work on and submit images to those competitions. And you can see a couple of examples here, night photography, there's an example of macro photography, and an example for minimalistic images. Catalin Sandu, who is the chair of competitions, of assigned topics competitions, publishes a survey at the end of every season. Members vote, and then the topics are selected. So the ones for this season are known already. I don't remember them. I don't have a slide about them, but you can look them up on I think they were probably already on the website. The third assigned topics competition is a series competition. So that is a competition that involves a series of 5 to 8 images each. I think it's 5 to 8, or maybe it's it might be a different range, but because we have two of those types of competitions, I might be getting confused here. But it's a series of images that forms one entry. And that's just a different type of competition. That type of competition, again, in recognition of the effort of creating something like that, if you win an award, you earn 2 points and not 1 point. Yes, there's a question in the back. No, I'm coming to photo essays. Yeah, that's different.
Question is?
The question was whether I'm referring to photo essays now. The answer is no. I will talk about photo essays. I'm talking here about a series of images in the assigned topics competition. I'll also mention that in prints, in the year-end competitions, we also have a series of prints that can be submitted. So there are a few competitions, not a lot of them, but there are a few every year that are of this kind of format. Okay. Audiovisual presentations. So this is what's called essays, photo essays as well, referred to sometimes as photo essays. An audiovisual presentation is essentially, sorry, Mike, could you, my picture there is hiding some of the text. Okay. It's a sequence of images that is combined or processed into a video that then gets presented. But the video is comprised of a sequence of still images that can include text, can include narration, and can include music in order to tell a story, usually 2 to 3 minutes long and up to a maximum of 7 minutes. And there may be some video or a combination of video and time-lapse photography that's included in it, but that is restricted. This year, we've increased the maximum threshold or maximum level of video and time-lapse content to 33% of the total length of the essay or the presentation. In the past, it's been 20%. And our club is unique in that, in the sense that we've wanted to increase this a little bit to be a bit more flexible. A lot of people are using drones and trying out that type of photography. People are trying, want to have a bit more video, but members need to be aware that international competitions and national competitions like CAPA competitions may not allow that. And usually they are restricted to a maximum of 20%. So, a lot of work goes into creating this kind of audiovisual presentation. It's very intensive. And so if somebody creates that with the hope of submitting it to different competitions, not only the Toronto Camera Club, they need to be aware of what those other competitions restrictions are. Those who win awards in these competitions win 3 honor points in recognition of the effort required, and also of the fact that these are open competitions. They're not done by division. Okay. 2 years ago, we introduced a special category competition, and this happens once a year, once a club season, with 2 subcategories. One subcategory is called in-camera creative, and that's for creative images that are not, where the main skill and creativity does not come in the post-processing, but comes in the actual capturing of the image itself at the time of taking the photo. So that can be done through things like intentional camera movement, as I mentioned. It can be done with multiple exposures in camera on top of each other that are done in the field. A combination of those 2 things, different filters that you may put on your lens to create an effect. All of those are game for this competition. The second special category that we have is street photography. We have quite a few members who are interested in street photography. Not enough for that to be its own separate competition at the club, but enough to justify having a subcategory under special category where street photography images compete against each other. So this is a way to allow the same type of image to compete against other images like it in that setting. Okay, next. All right. I'm pretty much at the end of competitions. Usually, evaluation group would be presented by Christopher Sue, who is also a co-chair of our nature competition, but he's not here today. I'll just mention one more thing about competitions before going to the evaluation group, and that is something about pictorial competitions. Our third pictorial competition in every season is black and white only. It's not color. So there is a lot of interest in black and white. We want to have a forum where those can just compete against themselves. Now, pictorial 1 and 2, which are color, you can also have black and white there. But the third one is exclusive for black and white. Okay. Evaluation groups are an informal way to submit an image and receive feedback on this image from experienced club members. Many of the club members who provide that feedback are also certified photo judges. Some of them are not, but they're mainly in our master's division or some in our advanced division who can provide valuable feedback. And it's very useful for members who perhaps prefer not to participate in a formal competition, but still would appreciate receiving some feedback on their images, or people who want to learn but are not ready yet to compete, or people who want to submit an image to a competition but would appreciate that feedback before they actually finalize the image. If somebody has participated in an evaluation group, they still have the opportunity and are able to change their image with that feedback in mind prior to submitting it to the relevant competition. And they're scheduled in a way that for pictorial, nature, and creative or altered reality, the evaluation group happens a few weeks before, or shortly before the submission deadline for that competition category, so that a member can take advantage of the feedback and then submit to the competition. Yes. Yes. Correct. Yes. So the scoring, the question is about how competitions are scored, and the scoring, each judge, we have 3 judges for each competition. And the judges are not from this club. They are judges from other clubs and may not even be judges who are from the GTA, because most of the judging happens remotely. Each judge provides a score, typically somewhere between 5 and 10 in half point differences. And the sum of the 3 judges' score is the final score. Now, those are presented during a Monday night when a competition result is presented, but they're also noted in a score sheet that's included with the members only area of the website. So if you look at our website, you'll see that internal competition images, winning images, are visible to the public. You don't have to be a member to see the images that are winning images and to the names of the members who won those awards. But the score sheet is only available to members in the members only area of the website. You can go in, open it up, find your images, and see the scores, in addition to judges' comments, because they also provide comments on the image. And that's one of the learning mechanisms that we have by participating in a competition. Was there another question? Okay, good. I think that's probably my last slide. I've spoken enough, probably. Thanks, Mike. Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. And last but not least is the workshops program. Excuse me. Dermot O'Carroll joined the club in 2010 and is the workshop coordinator. His amazing technical knowledge is revealed when he also personally conducts interesting workshops Welcome, Dermot.
I would, thank you, Stanley, but I would say my lack of knowledge is usually exposed when I do a workshop. So I'm responsible for, there are a variety of category of workshops in the club. You've heard about the, for example, earlier, the beginner photography workshop. There's others on light, studio lighting, etc. These workshops are presentation workshops that are conducted typically on Thursday evenings from 7:30 to 9:30. And they cover specific aspects of photography. So they're not really designed for somebody who wants to learn how to use a camera. The idea of these workshops, they're historically have all been provided by members who volunteer to share their knowledge. I mean, that's what a club is. A club is a whole group of people with common interests that come together to share knowledge with each other. And the workshops are only successful if we can get members to provide workshops. And they provide a great learning experience for all members. And the way we decide what to provide workshops on is every year around August, with the help of Kathy Moore, I send out a survey to all members looking for what topics they would be interested in having a workshop. And based on those responses, I go out and look for volunteers to prepare those workshops. Now, in the last couple of years, we have had additional presenters in the form of, we've got deals with Henry's Camera Shop and Nikon Camera. And they have agreed to provide each year to provide one or more workshops on specific topics that we go out and request. But I want to stress, it takes quite a long time to get a program together, to get volunteers, because there's a lot of work to prepare a workshop. So during the year, I get some individuals will write to me and say, I would like a workshop on this. And it's a very specific aspect of photography. We are not designed to do that type of thing. We don't have this infinite library of workshops and volunteers we can pull out to provide custom workshops. But typically, we try to provide the workshops that have the greatest interest in. We are currently looking for volunteers based on input for things like nature photography and people photography, because there's a lot of interest in that. And if anybody out there has, at least they have skill and knowledge to share, love you to get in touch with me. And we're also working with Nikon and Henry for their contribution this year. We have commitments for 4 workshops from 3 members this year. And if we go to the next slide, I'll talk about those. So the first one is on one of the most requested things on photography are the use of both Lightroom and Photoshop. And this has been going on for years. And we had great difficulty getting volunteers to do this because they're both very large topics and they're not topics you can cover in 2 hours. So last year, I decided that I would try and create a 4-session workshop on Lightroom. And I thought I'd get all 4 done last year. I didn't. I got part 1 and part 2 done, my plan is this year I will be doing part 3 and part 4. Parts 1 and part 2 the workshops are typically video recorded and they're available on our website. So you can go and see them. If you're not familiar with Lightroom, parts 3 and 4 would be difficult unless you've seen parts 1 and 2. And if there's enough demand, I may repeat parts 1 and 2 this year. The other volunteer that we have for a presentation this year is actually from Dror, who's going to talk about post-processing of landscape photos in Lightroom and Photoshop. And this is also one of our most requested workshop topics that we've been looking for somebody for a number of years. Now, I've seen a lot of Dror's photos, and I can't wait to attend his workshop and we've now set a date for November of this year for that workshop. So the other workshop that I used to do was one called How to Improve Your Photography, which is about photography in general. It wasn't really designed for somebody who knows nothing about photography, but if you were to take the Introduction to Photography workshop series, then it would be a good follow-up. I haven't done that in the last 2 years because I've been doing other workshops. If there's enough demand for that, I would bring it back and do it again. Other topics we've done over time are very specific things. We had one on astrophotography. We've had a couple on focus stacking. We've had some on water drop photography, macro photography. So we have a variety of topics at various years. The workshops are well attended, and I think they're very informative. So I look forward to seeing you at this year's workshops. And I will apologize in that for the next 4 weeks I'm out of the country, so you can get me by email, but you can't get me at the club. So, any questions? Yes. The question was, will there be a workshop on how to use your external flash this year? So a more generic one that we're looking at is lighting, basically. How to use artificial lighting with photography, which could be external flash, it could be studio strobe, or it could be studio fixed lighting. I'm looking to either Henry's or Nikon to try and put on a workshop like that, if I can get them this year. But the workshop I'm planning is the one that was requested through the survey, not any individual requests for specific things. If that workshop covers those specific requests, then more than happy to do it. But I'm responding to the input from the survey. So if there are categories, and I want to emphasize that, if there are things you want workshops on, you need to answer the survey. So the comment was that the member who was just talking has been talking to Henry's, and that you should keep up with Henry's programs because they're planning on doing workshops again. The previous manager, if you're talking about the person who worked with us on workshops, he didn't quit, he retired. So it's a subtle difference between the two. And Henry's have been in touch with me, and I am in touch with them in terms of what workshops they will provide. The workshops they provide through us are free. They may be here in this club, or they may be at their store downtown. Typically, the ones they provide in their store are paid workshops. So I would certainly recommend, hopefully we'll get a number from them this year. Any other questions? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dermot.
And the tour of the Toronto Camera Club will take place with Nora heading the arrangements over here. Thank you very much, everyone, for your presentations.
Thanks so much to Stan for putting this together.
Thank you.